I'm ticked off, YouTube. I'm mad. I'm angry. I'm all the words, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to get to the bottom of it. Hopefully, get to the bottom of it. I lost $540 last night on an arbitrage bet. If you know anything about sports betting, an arbitrage bet is a guaranteed bet. It's when you bet both sides to secure a profit, no matter what the outcome is. I am not a gambler by and large. Any bet I place is either an arbitrage bet or promo backed or a profit boost, something that gives me an edge. I don't just throw around money. So losing $540 is not fun. Let's talk about what happened. Last night, FanDuel offered a market. And that market was either fighter to win in the first 60 seconds of the fight at plus 1,000. I put $50 on it, which was my limit to return $550. As you can see, it lost. It returned $0. On DraftKings is where I hedged it or arbed it for minus 750. Fight to end in the first 60 seconds of round one. I said no because no is the opposite of this bet for $490. All right. If you're curious about how that works, if you bet 50 on a plus 1,000 line and your second line is minus 75 or 750, you make $15 no matter what happens. Okay. I'm assuming if you're on this video, you know what an arbitrage bet is, you know how it works. So how in the world did I lose these bets that appear to be the exact opposite of each other? Well, I'll tell you how. Tom Aspinall knocks out Curtis Blades by technical knockout. Goddard, I believe, stopped the fight in the first minute of round one at exactly 1 minute. As you can see here, he's reaching in on the clock at the 4-minute mark. It counts down from 5 to 4, okay? So now we have a technicality on our hands. And how do books address the technicality? First, let's start with FanDuel. FanDuel's wording is misleading. This is the first problem, okay? Either fighter to win the first 60 seconds of the fight. Gone in 60 seconds is what it's called. If you look at their house rules, though, so every book has house rules written to help back them up in legal situations like what we have on our hands. For the gone in 60 seconds market, you are wagering on whether the fight will end in the first 59 seconds of round one. The official time supplied by the governing body we use to settle this market. Okay, so their house rules support them, which means I likely don't have a fight with FanDuel if I seek out legal action, which is actually my plan to do, okay? I do think the wording is misleading, okay? This is unfair. It should say either fighter to win in the first 59 seconds of the fight if they're not going to count the 60th second or the 1 minute mark. It is misleading wording, but it's mathematically fair, and here is why. They don't use decimal points or fractions of a second in the UFC clock. You are only getting whole numbers. So technically, 59.999999999 would be a win. Exactly 60 seconds, exactly 1 minute, which is virtually impossible to calculate and to actually, figure out would be a win. But 60.001 would be a loss. Now, the problem is both of these wagers, both of these times are the same to the UFC because they don't use decimal points, okay? Both of these do not represent the same thing, but to the UFC, they're both 1 minute, all right? So that is why FanDuel puts 59 seconds, so they don't have the same issue with this bet, okay? They're doing the right thing, okay? In my opinion, FanDuel needs to change this, and it needs to read either fighter to win in under 60 seconds, okay? That would make the most sense. Now, DraftKings, let's talk about them because this is actually where I think I have a fight. This is actually where I see a problem, okay? Fight in the first 60 seconds, I said no. I've messaged their chat multiple times. They're not backing down. Our internal team can confirm that the fight ended right at a minute or 60 seconds and has been settled correctly. So, using that same logic I used on FanDuel, 5.999999999 would be a loss. Okay, technically 6.000 would be a loss because it would still be in that 60-second range. But anything over that, which again, we can't actually quantify in the UFC because the clock doesn't use decimal points, but 60.0000001 would be a win for me, because that's not in the first 60 seconds. This number right here is over 60 seconds, okay? So what do we do? Because the clock isn't using half points, had decimal points, okay? So DraftKings does not have a house rule in this market. FanDuel at least covers their bases and puts a house rule that is misleading, but they have it. DraftKings does not have a house rule, but I did find this in their UFC market. They have an explanation about total rounds and minutes props that say for settlement purposes, where a half round is stated, 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the respective round will define the half to determine over or under. So for example, 2 minutes and 30 seconds into round 2 will equal over 1.5 rounds. In the event of a technical decision or technical draw, the market will be settled to a stop. Here it is. I've highlighted it. If the fight ends at exactly 2 minutes and 30 seconds of a round, over bets will be settled as won and under bets will be settled as lost. So what does that mean for us? 0 to 2:29 is the first half of a round. 2:30 to 5 minutes is the second half of the round. They are clarifying that times round up. All right. Once a UFC clock reads X, it's really X.0001. Otherwise, 2:30 would be a push or an under since decimals are not used. Okay, that's not my words. That's FanDuel's words. That's what they're saying here. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. If that's what the clock says, it's over 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So let's apply that same logic. If the fight ends at exactly 60 seconds, why would the over not settle as a win? All right, and again, let's apply the logic here. If over under half a round in the UFC, I'm going to calm down. I'm fired up. I've been mad all day. I barely slept last night, okay? I bet. I don't do a lot of gambling. So losing $540 ticks me off, all right, on a bet I should have won, all right? If over under half a round is 2:30, because UFC rounds are all 5 minutes, so if over under a half round, DraftKings is stating in their house rules, it's 2:30, then what I basically bet on is over under 1/5 or 0.2 of a round, all right? Because I bet on the first 60 seconds, which is 0.2 of a round versus 0.5 of a round if we're using this logic, okay? So if exactly 2 minutes and 30 seconds is over half a round, then logically, exactly 60 seconds is over 0.2 rounds, which was my bet, all right? This bet should be settled as a win because the fight did not end in the first 60 seconds. It ended in 60.0001 seconds, which is not in that time frame, okay? So here's the bottom line. Both of my bets cannot logically lose, okay? They're worded the same. They cannot both lose. I can argue that both of them should win due to poor wording on FanDuel's part. I'm not going to, okay? Unless that's what it takes with the Gaming Commission. They're willing to fight that battle for me, all right? But 2 losses should not be possible. If you'd like to help in any sort of way, I know you don't work for the game. I know you have no control. Just comment on this video. Tell me, what you think about it. Like it, share it, okay? The more eyes that gets on this video, hopefully the more that these sports books can tighten up and stop doing sketchy stuff like this to customers, because how many hundreds of people don't care? They bet their line and they see it lost and they move on, okay? Books get away with this scummy practice, which should be illegal, okay, when it's not clarified, and thousands of people are losing money, and there's me who is very particular and is trying to make sure I don't get ripped off. So I am going to call the Gaming Commission tomorrow. We are hopefully going to get it settled. So if you'd like to help, anything you can do to share this video, comment, get the algorithm to say, oh, this is a good watch. Let's get this out here to the world. Please do so. I'll keep you guys updated. I'll let you know what happens, and hopefully I get some of my money back, or all of it. I'd like all of it, please.